Welcome to Create Arts Online. I'm Helen Shafer Garcia. I will be teaching Watercolor Florabunda. In this course, I want to introduce you to my signature technique, dropped in color. This is a method of painting that allows colors to blend and fuse without making mud. I'll demonstrate on two separate paintings how to achieve a few different techniques. We will start out with a color wash that's painted onto the paper surface. Other pigments are picked up with the brush and from the palette and then dropped onto the wet surface. Once the water and the pigment are settled onto the paper, more pigments can be dropped in for darker values. This method takes time and patience, but it's worth the wait. You will soon learn that less is more when it comes to brush strokes. For our first painting, I will show you how to use a reference photo to create an iris flower that includes negative painting techniques. Next, I'm going to share my unique mixed media approaches while practicing dropped-in color and negative painting. You'll see me use stencils, a small clay figure as a focal point, and detail with color pencil. Another approach is negative painting. This is a technique where you will learn how to paint around shapes rather than painting the shapes themselves. This glazing method will achieve a sense of depth without much detail. Using small quantities and a limited color palette of high quality pigments, I will take you step by step to create both of these paintings. These techniques will give you the skills and the confidence to create your own style using dropped-in color. In the next section is a PDF with all the tools and materials and resources. So let's get painting.
Helen, thank you so much for coming to Create Arts Online. This is such an honor. You are an award-winning artist, and bringing your technique here, I just could not be happier.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's been a blast. I enjoyed the process.
Oh, I'm so glad, and I can't wait for you to share this with all of your students. But to get started, can you tell me a little bit about how you did start as a watercolor artist?
Yeah, definitely. So I was working in watercolor. I love plants.
Yes.
So I started painting succulents and weeds even in larger than life formats.
Uh-huh.
And then I started showing my work in galleries in Southern California, in Taos, New Mexico, in Scottsdale and Santa Fe.
All those big succulent plant communities. Yes, that makes sense.
And I did that for a while, and I loved it. But then I merged into illustration, and I was still painting in watercolor. And I was hired to work with hotels and resorts, painting their buildings and a lot of plants, swimming pools and floor plans and you name it. It's all for commercial.
Right, right.
Yeah, so that was interesting and fun because I was able to take my son, my young son at the time, and we'd stay at these real fancy resorts that we couldn't afford anyway.
Right.
But, and they gave us chocolates and flowers in the room.
When you go to bed's always good. Yes, who doesn't want that?
Yeah, and I did that for about 15 years or so.
Wow.
And also at that time I started working with San Diego Home and Garden magazine.
Yes.
And that lasted 10 years.
Yeah.
I was painting a nut or a fruit or a vegetable or anything having to do with edibles.
Well, and what a great way to illustrate a magazine instead of a photo, to have your kind of painting there. Like, that is really incredible and so much more creative.
Yes, it was. And I would work with the garden editors and work with their article to come up with a little still life of the plant. So it was my homework every month. I had to come up with this interesting way to show, an ugly nut.
And I'm sure you did a great job.
Thank you.
So now that we have gone through the process of Helen creating these two paintings is what you will watch her work on, which is the gift of this course, because as you know, when many of these teachers teach these courses live, it's to guide the students, right?
Right.
So here we are filming you making each choice, and how incredible that is. But we had to speed up the process a little bit in the drying time, as you'll see in the course. But tell me what you like to do as you let your layers dry at your studio at home.
So in my studio, there's a lot of distractions, mainly my garden that looks out. I have a half an acre.
Yes.
And it's filled with oak trees and succulents and perennials. And so it needs constant maintenance, as you know. And so I will put down a wash of color, the dropped-in color, and then I'll go outside and I'll do some weeding. Why not?
What a productive day, and what a healthy way. And we both do live in California, so we do get to experience some pretty good weather most of the year and get to have these gardens almost year-round. And they do need more maintenance, which I leave to my husband. I'm not that guy, but that's okay. Some people really love it. I'm not the one. But let's get back to the course a little bit more. Do you feel that these two styles of paintings are good for any level at your unique way of creating?
Definitely.
I've never made a watercolor before, and I can't wait to get out some paper and brushes.
Oh, I know. Watercolor has a bad rap because everybody thinks, oh my God, it's so hard.
No.
And it's not. It is forgiving. And plus you're using mixed media approaches where you can cover your so-called mistakes. And I've always felt, the hippie in me, I've always felt that if I can just play, it's the joy of playing.
Well, and it comes out in all of your paintings. I mean, we are only showing a few of them. You could go to her website to see more. But that probably is the greatest gift that you've brought to us, is this style that is so fun and has mixed media and it, stencils and using our little chicken and some crayons. And really, I say as a beginner that I would love to dive in and do this and I don't feel intimidated. I feel like I could do it.
Good. Yeah, that's what I want to bring across, is this, you just keep in mind that you don't have to be in control of the paint and the water. The water will let the paint flow on its own. Yeah.
Well, with just a little bit of practice and watching this course, I promise that you'll be making something like this in no time. So I cannot thank you enough for coming to Create Arts Online. This is just such an honor.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.